Well, you've heard the phrase penny for your thoughts. Tonight we're going in depth talking about penny for your Doge. As a way to save money, the federal government is in the process of making its last pennies forever. Many people across the country are wondering, does this mean their pocket change is going to end up being worth a whole lot more later? I went to Tulsa Gold and Silver to find out about that, and we'll look into what's going to play out for the penny in the coming months and years when we buy things. At Tulsa Gold and Silver, there are cases full of coins from America's past with stories to tell that have also gained in value as time has gone by.
Multiple. I get calls almost every day.
I went to Josh McGuire to make heads or tails over what has been a common question asked by many people lately, dealing in rare and valuable coins. Now that the federal government is making its final set of pennies, are the pennies in our pockets about to soar in value?
You know, you might double your money in 50 years as far as 1 cent to 2 cents just because maybe metal value, because there's zinc now with a copper plating. And they switched that over from copper to zinc in '82.
Long before their public falling out, Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency suggested to the Trump administration that it could save $56 million a year if it stopped making pennies. Late last month, the final order of the materials used to make pennies arrived at the U.S. Mint.
So we start and stop different currencies. Got a lot of it based on metal value like we're doing now.
But Josh says the penny won't just disappear. There's too many of them out there, and while the government won't make them anymore, we will still be using them for years to come.
They're still going to be super plentiful for many years.
The last time the federal government did something like this was with the wheat penny in 1958. Something people bring into the shop all the time, thinking they're going to get rich quick off of. Here at Tulsa Gold and Silver, there's a lesson for us all when it comes to pennies. These are wheat pennies in this bucket, and they ended production in the late 1950s. And even 75 years later, as time has gone on, people look closely at their pennies. They're wondering if they're striking gold. In reality, one of these is just worth 5 cents today.
Probably the majority of these I still buy and sell about 5 cents a piece.
Josh says when it comes to the expensive and valuable coins on store shelves, today's pennies won't be anything like them anytime soon, or even further down the road.
As far as any penny value, of course, errors are always a popular talk, but if you're digging through your change, most of those are just not going to be worth anything. More fun than valuable. Any kind of value as far as just regular years, be 1958 and older.
For now, we're told, once the production of the penny stops, look at each one of them closely for rare qualities before using them or taking them to the bank, where they will eventually be taken out of circulation. But don't view your pocket change as a bar of gold in the making.
If they're wanting to collect, 2025 or potentially 2026 pennies for fun, that's great. Coin collecting that's what it's about. It's fun. If you're thinking future investments or making money, it's just not going to happen.
Now, the penny cost a lot more than it is worth to make, and it's why, with it being mostly zinc and copper, the penny is coming to an end. The U.S. Mint says it costs 4 cents to make each penny, which, when used, is obviously just 1 cent. A nickel costs 14 cents to make, but because of its value and place in society and business, this is overlooked, and the nickel isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The U.S. Mint has cut down on the production of nickel slightly to help save money as well. The commonly used quarter costs 16 cents to make, so it exceeds its actual metal value. When it comes to purchases in the future, keep in mind pennies will still be out there for a while, but when they start to run low, businesses will rely more on the nickel. People in both parties have actually wanted the mint to do this for a very long time. If you have pennies, they won't be rejected, but if you are using cash for your purchases, it will be rounded up or down to the nearest 5 cents. So the total, an item, or even your grand total for when you buy multiple things with cash will end in a 0 or a 5 in the coming years. The register or the cashier will have to do the math.
Prices will now be rounded up to the nearest dollar, which means that most customers will end up paying 1 penny more than they were before.
Even though the Trump administration is doing away with the penny, there has been federal legislation filed to officially do away with the penny, but so far no official votes have been taken. With this change in progress and more changes likely to happen soon, now might be the best time to look at your credit and debit card spending. You will not be rounded to the nearest nickel in the future if you keep your transactions digital. 1 cent will still be 1 cent when it comes to non-cash payments and purchases made with cards and online. You may actually save a few pennies when the penny no longer exists if you stick to plastic and online transfers. There are concerns, however, that some lower income families who rely less on debit and credit cards will end up paying slightly more at the store because they are more dependent upon cash and coins with that rounding happening. What's going to be weird for us here in Oklahoma is that your elected officials will still ask you to vote on penny or 1 cent or even half a cent sales tax issues even after the penny is gone. Sales taxes and how those monies are spent at the state, county, and city levels will still have things like half a penny for better road campaigns or half a cent sales tax increases for better parks initiatives like that. It will seem weird that no one will actually pay in actual pennies, but your government officials will still continue to issue proposals that will involve the penny as a way to measure how much money a government is looking to collect at a point of sale and spend it on a specialized project. Now, when it comes to these things, keep in mind, not just also down the road, but even now, it is illegal to melt your pennies. We've reported a lot about copper theft and the value of copper going up and down. Your modern day penny is a mix of zinc and copper, and so melting it down will give you a weird illegal mix of a metallic mess, if you will. Later or earlier this year, also keep in mind, we expect banks and the Treasury Department to issue more guidance about life beyond the penny, but a lot of it will be what I just told you about when it comes to rounding your purchases up or down.